that qualifying examination. So why do we have this qualifying examination? It is most likely even for Japanese or those who are familiar with the Japanese system, you do not see this very often. But in a European system, in UK especially, you do have this qualifying examination. Why do we call it qualifying examination? It's basically to make sure you are ready to take on the PhD challenge, that you have the skills, the knowledge, and the preparations, and you have identified the topic and the scope and the novelty of topics are all acceptable. So but it's not really up to anybody to say, except the expert in the field, in your field, to say whether you are qualified or not to do a PhD. So this qualifying examination would take place in the first year. Am I too fast? Sorry, I'm clear, right? Okay. So it should take place in the first year of your study. But I do encourage students to start soon because you only have 3 years. So it's not a 4-year or 5-year program, but only 3 years. So you should start your preparation early, qualifying examination. So there you have, in the handout, you should be able to understand what the purpose is. I've just explained it in words just now. So what should you do to prepare for the examination? So here, the QE seminar or the qualifying examination, you yourself will be doing most of the planning, okay, based on the outline that we have provided for you. The schedules and everything, you should manage them by yourself. You are a PhD student, you should be able to manage your study or your project by yourself together with your team, including your supervisor. You should have another handout, which is the process flow of qualifying examination, another 2 papers, 3 pages of handout, like this. Those are the details of the forms that would be needed when you prepare for your examinations. So let's go back to the student handbook. So let's look at the QE seminar. You need to have at least 2 assessors. 2 assessors, and one of them should be from the School of Tropical Medicine and Global Health, TMGH. So the chair will be the program director, the chair of your seminar. So should be the program director or somebody nominated by the program director, the chair. Supervisors cannot be QE assessors, but their input, their comments are very important for this assessment process, for this examination, qualifying examination. Therefore, they will be in the team, but they are not the assessor. You can have 2 assessors or more than 2, but one must be from TMGH, faculty member. So, usually another one can come from within the university or outside or out of the country, but the expert in your field. Again, the purpose of this is not to make life difficult for you, it's to help you improve your proposal. You want to start right. Therefore, you want to make sure those people you invite to be your assessor are able to help you identify problems in your proposal that otherwise your current team might not be able to see. Again, this is tropical medicine, global health, so you have experts all over the world, so I encourage you to approach those people. So, yes. Yes, sure.
Can any sub-supervisor can be?
Assessor.
Even sub cannot
No.
be? Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah. I think that should be the answers, right, Professor Moji? Sub-supervisors are not allowed to be, co-supervisors are not allowed to be assessors. Yeah, They have to be outside of the team. And another common questions that, if I may add, Professor Moji, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that assessors at your qualifying exam, can they be your final examiner of the master of your PhD dissertation?
Okay.
Can they? They cannot.
They cannot.
Yeah.
It's very strange, that one. I insist to be the same, but...
Yes, Sensei, yes, please explain. They cannot be.
Oh,
So
okay, this may be the discussion matter. That's why I may not say a lot. But the resource is very limited.
I know.
And some redundancy we should accept. But we cannot conclude this session. But I want to provoke this kind of discussion in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
But because our resource is limited, so that's why we invite external examiners. So we actually change. We tried our best to change this. Okay, that it is the first time for Nagasaki University to invite the external examiners.
Thank you. One of the comment that I received was that if your assessors for the qualifying exam, usually they are very involved at the beginning of your study. So basically they will be giving you a lot of input that shape the study. And at the end, when they become examiner, they will be examining what they suggested. So that is a little bit of a bias there. So it should try to be more unbiased. So, but anyway, so I think it's a topic worthy of further future discussion. So let me continue. So the QE assessment panel will consist of the members below the chair, which is Professor Moji or somebody nominated. The assessors, at least 2, and 1 has to be from TMGH. Supervisors will attend, are encouraged very much to attend, and including co-supervisors or any of your collaborator are encouraged to attend as observer and give you as many comments as possible. So are we okay with that? Can I move on? Yes? Okay, let me move on. Maybe if you have questions, we can save it for later. So the process and assessment. So so there are a list of responsibilities but basically the students you need to follow up each step and remind your supervisor that you are preparing for a qualifying exam. If you are doing if you are progressing as expected, they shouldn't be too difficult for the qualifying exam because it's just to show what you have prepared. It's everything you do here, they should not be extra. It should be towards your final PhD dissertation. That is the final product, right? So you should not be doing anything too out of the line. So I don't think I need to go through the format of the research proposal and then the list of responsibilities, but the main thing is to do this earlier, to nominate your assessors, because those assessors have to go through have to be reported to the faculty meeting, the Kyojukai, right? So it has to be in advance. And a bunch of other things is you need to make a date, and then you need to, if your assessors are from overseas, you need to make an appointment with them. You need to make sure they are available on a specific day and time, taking into consideration the time zone difference. And you need to also be responsible to reserve the room, reserve the time with your collaborators, and set up all these instruments, or better still, use your own instruments that you are familiar with. But you need to rehearse also with your supervisor or your team members. So that's my suggestion to how to go through so that you are ready for the seminar. The seminar is the whole process will take 2 hours. Generally, the first hour is your presentation plus question and answer Q&A. So your presentation will take about 30 minutes. Okay, so it's not very long. You don't have all the time to explain what you want to. So you need to know what are the important things to present. Actually, yeah, maybe I'll go through that later. So your seminar should be a public open seminar. So please try to send out the information. You can actually, if you have contact with other labs, for example, whom you think are able to contribute to your studies, right? You want their opinion, you want their comments. So you should try to tell the other people in your field that you are going to present this public seminar, which is your qualifying exam QE, and then encourage them to attend. And also to remind the office that they also need to send out some information on behalf of you to the mailing list to encourage participation from the school master's PhD students who might be interested in your study. So again, this is to help you improve your protocol, study protocol. So don't think I need to go through too much on that. Formatting, research misconduct, again, you can follow that by yourself. And the assessment criteria. So let's look at the assessment criteria. You can look at the 6 questions there. And please pay attention to the 6 questions. Okay, assessment criteria. Those assessment criteria will be in line with these process flow qualifying examination. You have these two papers on page 2 of that process flow qualifying exam handout. You should see this this form that has very tiny words on them. Those are the boxes that we remind the assessor to check when they listen to your presentation. They should be looking for feasibility, novelty, scope. Is it clear, your aims and objective of the study? Do you have the intellectual and the technical capacities? If you don't have the technical capacities, have you identified ways to improve those technical capacities? And whether you are able to finish the project by yourself within the schedule that you have proposed. A lot of times students propose something that is very, very big. Okay, multiple study into one big PhD programs, and they become not realistic. So funding, and also do you have any ethical approval issues? Things like that. So those are the important questions you should go through. And then outcome. What are the possible outcomes of the QE seminar? You have 4 outcomes. First is approved. No change required. And yes, it is possible to get approved because we do have students in the past who got approved without any revision required. Second is conditional approval 1. It's a minor revision. Some revisions are needed. However, those revisions can be monitored or reviewed by your supervisor. The third one is a bit more revision, major revision, conditional approval 2. So you have major revision that should be checked by your supervisor as well as the assessors. I assume the assessors, if they are willing to help you again to check your revised proposal, that would be the best. So you should negotiate and discuss the time for them to check your work. Okay, so this would not be our responsibility. That we will not be monitoring how the timing and the schedule. So you need to tell us, can you do it within the month or within a week? or you need more time. So you need to let us know when you can submit the revised proposal. Number 4 is not approved. That means the whole QE process has to restart. Okay, so that means the assessors think they are not enough, so you need to restart everything. So again, once you have finished this process and you know the result, there should be some forms that you need to fill up. Again, I do not want to go through the forms. There are quite many forms here that you need to fill up. The forms are already prepared for you, so just use them. Okay, so you can download the PDF, the Word and the PDF, the Word file, directly from the TMGH website. You should be given the password later on, I think, maybe not now, but they should have the password to download the forms later. Yeah, you will know, okay? So you don't need to be typing letters and writing the forms. They are all ready already for you, okay? So just fill them up and then focus on your research. So those are the possible outcomes. And next, we have the monitoring. This monitoring is actually following the style of in London School of Tropical Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. So basically, it will be Dr. Lina and myself doing the progress monitoring. It will be done at the first 6 months, and then follow up by the 24th month and the 30th month. So what will happen is that you have this triangle. So you are very close to your supervisors, okay? And then on the other side you have the school, okay, TMGH admin. In between you have us, coordinator. So if you have trouble, for example, if you have trouble with some supervision or your project that cannot be solved, you might be tempted to go to the directly to the TMGH office. But I encourage you to talk to somebody in the middle, coordinator, where I know the admin side and I also know the academic side, okay? So at least we can try to solve it. And most of the time, Dr. Lina and myself, the coordinators, will need to consult Professor Moji to solve your problem or for suggestions, okay, if you cannot solve it among yourself in your own team. So that is the style. So that's why we have this progress monitoring. The very, very important is your first 6 months, whether you are on the right track or not. So a lot of times, especially recently, the problems that we hear a lot from students are related to this additional stress because of not able to pursue their study because of this coronavirus. So things like that, the delay schedule, and then, yeah, so things like that. So on the 24th month and the 30th month, they are very, very small, simple progress monitoring. They are just like a checklist for you to make sure you are on track, okay? So if you are doing your job, none of this should add anything to your work. It's just checklists, check. You have done this, you have done this. They are just checkpoint for you. So if you are doing your job as you should for your PhD, then none of this should be adding any burden to you, okay? So, but I do want to remind you that if you look at the very bottom of the timeline on page 6, 30 months onwards, it's the submission of PhD thesis. It's not 36 months onward, please. It's 30 months onwards, not 36 months. So some students thought that they want to graduate in September, they submit their thesis in September. So it cannot happen. It's 30 months onwards. The process will start where we need to assign the committee, examination, and everything to you. And that would have another guidance, right? Moji Sensei, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just you have not 3. You don't have no 3 years. You have only 2.5 years for submit your PhD. And the last less than 6 months, we try to improve your PhD together, okay? to finalize your PhD. Okay, so that process is, I think, very important. So try to submit your thesis within 2.5 years.
Thank you, Sensei. So again, 2.5 years. So please don't spend 2 years for your QE, and you only have 6 months to do your research. So, okay, so next, completion requirement, pass criteria, I leave that to you to read. And the degree is actually PhD. So I think for English it's just PhD, but for those of you who want to write it in Japanese, it's global health. So I don't think I need to go through them anymore. So very quickly, I think I still have, I don't have any more time, is it? I do have a little bit of time. So just a little bit of time. So the process flow, let me move on to the process flow of the two papers, the 3 pages there, 1, 2, 3. There are 5 steps there, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How to prepare for the qualifying exam. Number 1 is your assessor, your schedule, and submission of the appointment of assessor's form. And you can see that we have drafted all those letters for you, and you need to submit the form. So the form is the blank one, 1, 2, 3 assessors. If you have more, you can add, okay? Of course, not just 3. Okay, but too many assessors can be very complicated, so you need to discuss with your supervisors. And you need to submit this appointment of assessor. That letter will be signed by the program director. You can see Professor Moji Sensei's name is in the letter. And then the second is the score sheet, a QE report, and presentation slides. You need to submit those at least 2 weeks or more, if possible, to your assessors. Assessors need time to read proposal. Okay, so please don't submit your QE report 2 days or 1 day before your examination to your assessors and expect your assessors to critique or to comment on they need time. Okay, and the score sheet. You can look at the score sheet later when you download from the website. Those are the area that your assessors will be grading you on, and they will provide comments. So after that, you prepare for your public presentation, including rehearsal. Mainly, you can rehearse by yourself or with your lab members. You need to check the equipment. You need to check all this equipment, the battery, everything. So don't come to the office unless it's not working, okay? Don't come to the office and say, how do I do this, how do that? But you need to try it first. Because in the future, when you organize a project, you need to be able to do that. In a seminar, you need to be able to organize a seminar as a PhD student. These are all very important skills. So note for the QE day. So on the QE day, 2 hours I mentioned. The first hour is your presentation and Q&A, and the second hour, okay, the second hour is a closed door examination. I'm looking at number 4, okay, of page 3. Are you okay? Number 4 of page 3 is a closed door examination. So please stay and don't go back. We will tell you the result of your QE immediately. I mean, Professor Moji will announce. Professor Moji will announce your result to you. So please stay somewhere nearby, because if you go home, I will be the one chasing after you later on and to ask you to come back. So I have problems with a few students that I cannot find them. So I need to go all over the building to find where is the student. So please don't go back. Okay, you should be more excited about your result than me. Number 5. Once you know the result, you need to prepare what are the things you want to revise. For example, if you have to revise, okay? If you don't have to revise, congratulations, continue. If you have to revise, then what are the things you have to revise? Can you see this form at the bottom of page 3? The bottom of page 3, you have this yellow highlighted key recommendations. Those are your own notes that you have taken down the notes during your QE. What are the major points you need to consider to improve your proposal? Only one page, so please don't, because you're only talking about the main things, okay? One page or less, okay? If you have less, that's better. I mean, that means your proposal is really up to the expectation. So that's the steps. So I think that it's QE for me. I think that's what I want to say. So maybe we have 2 minutes before I pass the mic to the office. Questions? So if you have questions, ask your supervisor or the coordinator, okay? So don't email directly to the office so that we can help you. Thank you.
My suggestion to the student is that, well, don't worry too much about QE and other procedures, okay? So, well, in the beginning, I myself actually feared too much about to be criticized, okay? But well, all these processes are for your sake and to improve your research, okay? For you to be a good researcher, scientist in the future. So that process is for you, okay? So that's why, so don't worry too much and use these kind of things. And to be criticized more and more is very important things. So don't worry too much, okay? Don't worry your heart, just to use your brain, okay? That's my suggestions.
Thank you, Sensei. Again, just to remind you again, you have the guideline and you have all the materials here for you. But very important, what I realized in the past, maybe because the program is new, is that you are not talking to your senpai, your seniors. Because if you have any troubles, but if they are not appropriate to talk to the supervisor, sometimes it's better to ask your senior, okay? That your seniors have a lot of advice for you, and you are the third batch, right? So you have to, so your first and the second batch seniors are still around. There's a mailing list. I encourage you to organize activities. Try to include them. Try to get them involved so that when you have problems later on, you can ask them. Okay. So that's all I have. And may I invite the Ms. Rie Ogata from the office to share some advice. Thank you.
All the students know that the important person of admin office, okay, you should recognize. So it's yours, yeah, lifeline, okay, to survive.